Welcome to another Odds Checker Premier League panel where we go through all the games of the weekend and we give a correct score each. I'm joined by Ryan Elliott to my right and Alex Keating to my left. I think we did okay last weekend, but as normal, we're going to rattle through them, so we're going to get straight down to it. And the early game on the Saturday is Fulham hosting Watford. Alex is a Watford fan, so only fair that I start with Ryan. Ryan, I mean, this looks like actually one of those games on paper where it may not be two of the top six, but it should be a decent game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think by now we know about Fulham. Entertaining side, play football the right way, as people say. Mr. Allardyce might disagree with that. However, I think it will be an away win. Fulham at the back just don't look up to much. They brought so many new players in over the summer, almost a brand new defence, and two new goalkeepers that have both been dropped. So there's not a settled back line, and Watford's, they're going to dust themselves down. I think mentally they're probably strong enough to deal with a narrow defeat to Manchester United when they probably should have got something. So Fulham are going to take time to acclimatise, and this is not the sort of game they want to play at home. Pressure on them. Watford win 2-1.
2-1 Watford.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to hear our top tips are back in Watford, and I'm very much looking forward to a trip to the Cottage this weekend. I think Fulham will be happy to return back home. Obviously, a good result against Burnley last time, although that Burnley form is looking increasingly bad. But I have to agree with Ryan. I just think Watford are a better team than Fulham. I think Mitrovic is dangerous, but Watford have really turned a corner this year. Obviously, some great results to start the season, and you can tell a lot about a team if they're disappointed to lose at home to United. Again, 2-1 Watford, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
Fair enough. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I think that Fulham are going to be very good at home this season. I think that defeat against Crystal Palace was a little bit harsh. We saw what they can do against Burnley as well. Watford, obviously, a fantastic start for them. I think their home form is going to be key, though, this season. And on the road, I think a 1-1 draw away at Fulham's quite a good result, especially having not had their first defeat. It's a bit of a bounce back. And I think if they do go into this game at all complacent, seeing themselves as the better team over Fulham, then they could get unstuck. But I reckon, 1-1 Fulham-Watford for me. Alex, Burnley against Bournemouth, this one. Burnley had an absolutely shocking start to the season. Bournemouth, on the other hand, tipped by many to struggle, are doing okay.
Indeed. Well, I watched the Burnley-Wolves game at the weekend, and Burnley were absolutely woeful. Joe Hart did well to keep that 0-0 for a long period of time. I thought Matej Vydra, I would say this, certainly made them look a bit brighter, and it is excellent off a target man, so I'll be interested to see if they adopt that. I think they'll be looking to come back to Turf Moor, and that's where they'll be looking to pick up a lot of their points. Completely agree. Bournemouth, as much as I hate to say it, have looked really excellent. That front three, I've seen stuff on Twitter about it being as good as Liverpool's. Probably isn't quite there, but I think that, as I say, Ryan Fraser, Wilson and King, they look very good, and this might be a bit tighter than sort of the on-paper form would suggest. I think 2-1 Bournemouth, but as I say, Burnley finished 7th. They have to get back to it at some point, and I think that will be at home, whether that's this week.
Have to get back to it. Yeah, I'm not so sure myself, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either. They've lost the convenient European excuse, which clearly was affecting them. I'm not going to say they didn't. And Bournemouth play a similar sort of style of football to Wolves, quite very attacking, swashbuckling, fast-paced, and I see the pattern of play being quite similar to that too. Burnley looked mentally they were being pushed back and back and back, and they had no outlet. The strikers didn't hold the ball up well at all. So I think Bournemouth are going to be all over them. There'll be pressure on them at home, and they're going to win 2-0 Bournemouth.
2-0 to Bournemouth. Again, I'm going to go for another draw. I do think Burnley are fairly useless, but I think the fact that they managed to keep Wolves down to just the one goal, despite being dominated all games, shows that mentality they've had for the last couple of seasons where they're going to frustrate teams, especially at home. Bournemouth obviously so good going forward, so I do think they'll score. Burnley don't draw many blanks at home either, so 1-1 is what I'm going to go for that one. This seems like a no-brainer. It's just going to be how many, I guess. Cardiff hosting Manchester City. Ryan, what do you think?
It's a sort of game that I'm not looking forward to at all, really. It is going to be an attack versus defence.
Lucky it's behind the blackout at 3 o'clock.
No way of watching it whatsoever. You don't know what team Pep's going to play, what wingers he's going to play, but whoever he puts out, they're going to be insatiable. They're going to be brilliant. I've won 3-0 City. Cardiff aren't going to go out and try and play. They're going to try and keep it down. They lost by 3 goals to Chelsea. It'll be a similar sort of story at their place. There's possibly a chance of them scoring against City. I've mentioned this quite a few times, how City like to concede the odd silly goal, although against Cardiff, they're not clinical at all, and it'll be 3-0 City.
Well, Cardiff won this fixture the last time that they were in the Premier League, 3-2 quite famously, and honestly that stat means absolutely nothing. They are an atrocious team, still looking for their first win. I think they've had a really tough start to the season. Obviously they've already played already played Arsenal, and they've still got Tottenham and Liverpool to come in the next 4. It's not going to get any easier for them. City have actually, on their expected goals, have underscored in all of their games except for against the Huddersfield in their 6-1 victory, which suggests they've actually been unlucky not to win by more in all of their games. This is going to be a battering, and it's probably a good thing it's not on telly for us all to watch the brutalisation of another Warnock side. 4-0 City.
4-0 City. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to tip anything but a City win. It's interesting you mentioned kind of the XG and the shot data, which actually has Cardiff doing okay going forward, which surprised me no end. Or I mean, generally they're at 12th in the XG table at the moment. So will they score? I mean, I don't think so. I think this could go one of two ways. Either Cardiff succeeds in stifling City for a while, and then the floodgates open, or the floodgates open early. In which case it's either going to be 2-0 or about 8-0. I'm going to go in the middle. I'm going to go 5-0 to City. I think that even if Cardiff, despite taking the lead against Chelsea, they still conceded 4 goals. The City team can be rampant at times. So 5-0 City for me. Sorry, Neil, if you're watching.
I like how 5-0's in the middle.
Yeah.
That says a lot about both sides.
Well, I mean, I'm saying it could be 8 max, but I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. Crystal Palace, Newcastle now. Newcastle really, really need a win. Can they get one at Selhurst Park?
Well, this sort of may as well be billed as Wilfried Zaha versus Newcastle. I mean, we spoke about this last week, but he's just so important to everything that Palace do going forward. They seem to, I haven't seen actually the highlights, but they seem to struggle against Huddersfield, they've actually been quite hard to beat, but have been a really, really poor side. Newcastle have quite a good record at Selhurst. They've drawn there 2 of the last 3 years, and they've won the 2 corresponding home fixtures against Palace. So they've got a decent record against Palace. They've had a really tough start themselves. I spoke last week about Rafa targeting games. This is one, apart from that Cardiff result, this is probably their first opportunity, certainly in a while, with the international break, to really get some points on the board. And I think they can get something. I think it'll be 1-1.
1-1, right?
It's going to be close. It'll be 1 goal deciding it either way. Absolutely, Rafa does target games. However, if you do target these games, it leaves you a bit open as well. Against the pace of Zaha, you've got Townsend as well. I think, pains me to say it, I think Palace will win 2-1. They're just a totally different side with Zaha, haven't they? I mean, the last time they won with that Zaha, I think it was 2 seasons ago now, and that's ridiculous, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Rafa Benitez pulling out his CVs, Jose Mourinho style too, if you heard you say that it leaves him a bit open at the back when he targets games. He's built a pretty good career out of it. But I mean, I agree with you. I think that when Roy Hodgson's Palace manager and Wilfried Zaha plays, they just seem to win games.
Yeah.
He is absolutely class, and he'll be the best player on this pitch by a country mile. So I think that given they're at home and given Newcastle, the squad looks fairly weak, to be honest, now. I think it's a worse squad than last season. So I'm going to say 2-0 to Palace, with Zaha surely getting on the score sheet yet again. Leicester against Huddersfield now, the perfect game surely for Claude Puel to get them back on the right track after a couple of poor results. Does he do so?
Yes, 2-0, routine as you like.
Routine as you like,
Simple
2-0,
as that.
easy.
Completely agree. I mean, I do have something to say for Huddersfield. I said last week how bad they were, and I still do think they are terrible, particularly going forward. They've still yet to register more than a goal on the expected goals in any game this season. It shows you how bad they are going forward. They've said they have sort of stifled and blunted teams. I think, as you say, Leicester won this 3-0 last year. I'm going for 3-0 again, and Maddison's pulled the strings. I think he's been impressive.
I will add as well, I believe they've had around 40 shots on target and only scored 1 of them. That's one of the players.
That would, to me, suggest that they're due a couple of goals because no team blows that cold for a long period of time. I'm going to stick up with Huddersfield a little bit here. I think they are very poor, but I also think that this Leicester team are pretty stale, and Maddison being the one bright spark. I think Huddersfield will go into this game looking probably for a 0-0 draw from the word go and maybe nicking on the break. And 0-0 is where I'm going to look here. Obviously, Leicester have been in amongst the goals this season, both in their own net and going forward. But I do think this could be a frustrating afternoon for Claude Puel's men. And if it is 0-0, could we see our first casualty of the season? The first managerial casualty maybe. A lot of talk before the season that Puel wasn't particularly popular with the players, and I think that's maybe showing on the pitch now.
Hope so, because I backed it as well.
After timing before it's cocked, I like it.
Indeed.
Liverpool Southampton. Now Liverpool, rampant, and I would still say maybe not really out of first gear yet.
Oh, it's me, is it?
Yeah.
Well, one thing we're very impressed with Liverpool about is the defence. Everyone talks about the front three, how deadly they are. We've known that for a while. We've also known that Virgil van Dijk's a fantastic player. Alisson's a fantastic goalkeeper. And all of a sudden, their midfield as well. Fabinho's not got a look in. They look so well balanced. The star man, we all know, Jimmy Milner. He's been absolutely fantastic. I just think this Southampton side will not get anywhere near them. In their 2-2 draw at Brighton, they were okay in the first half, crumbled in the second half. And if you do that against a team who travels so poorly, you're not going to go to Anfield and have any joy. So they're going to lose 3-0, and I think it'll be a 3-0 that flatters Southampton, personally.
Flattering 3-0 for Southampton, or flattering 3-0 defeat for Southampton.
I'm going for a flattering 2-0 defeat. I completely agree. I think Liverpool in the game last night, they're just so dominant, so dominant. And I say I've been so impressed by Wijnaldum, by Milner. They'll just keep the ball, pass it around Southampton. Obviously, you know Danny Ings, which is a big omission for Southampton. Obviously, he's looked like a bit of a bright spark. And I think that really kills off all of their goal threat. And yeah, Liverpool 2-0, they'll probably just take the foot off the gas. And Salah must score soon. Expected goals and expected shots per 90 are better than last season on the stats. Like, it's got to swing back his way soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an obvious win for Liverpool. I mean, this is where we probably come unstuck and where they get turned over. But it looks to me, especially without Ings, Southampton are going to be fairly toothless in attack. I think that Liverpool have the benefit of possibly being able to rotate a few players. You saw Sturridge score in the Champions League. I think he could easily come in to rest one of the front three. I think Fabinho came on and made his debut off the bench as well, so he may be set to make his debut. But even bringing in those players doesn't weaken them whatsoever. Naby Keita, of course, didn't play in the Champions League. They can bring him in as well. So fresh legs. I don't think the game on Tuesday is going to really matter. So I'm going to go 4-0 Liverpool. I am, the two in Liverpool and Man City, two teams that have won both their games. I'm already predicting massive wins for them again. So really insightful from me. Next up, Manchester United against Wolves. I think this looks like a really interesting game on paper between two teams who may be more evenly matched than their history would have you believe. Do you agree with that?
Well, I can't believe this game hasn't made TV. I mean, this is exactly the game I want to be watching on a Saturday evening.
First time ever we've said that about Manchester United.
I know, exactly. Well, it's just Watford now, really. It's just move towards the big teams. I can understand it. But yeah, no, I think Wolves obviously very impressive so far. Unlucky not to win by more at the weekend. I do have to say I have slight questions about their actual goal scoring ability. I think they play lovely football. Yeah. They create great chances. I think Traore is a brilliant impact player and one that I think will start scoring and starting soon for them. But I just worry going to Old Trafford, aside from the occasion, where are those goals coming from? I know United's defence has been questionable, but they've got a brilliant stopper in De Gea, and I think Lukaku can really cause problems for against Ryan Bennett. And United, they're on a bit of a roll. I think you can see how much it meant to Mourinho to beat Watford, and they won't want to let that go. Wolves, I really think they're a very good team. I think they're probably my favourites to come 7th. But United will win this 2-1 and just grind it out, I think. 2-1
United at Old Trafford, Ryan?
I couldn't agree more with what you said about the goal scoring. And Jimenez, he scored a good goal against Burnley, but he missed a hatful of chances. And a lot of them did. So Joe Hart did come out and say they were the best promoted side he's ever played against, which for someone who's played so many games is it's a real compliment. So yeah, you're right. It should be on TV because it's going to be a gritty game. It's going to be an emotional game, especially for Mourinho. I'm going to go for 2-1 as well. United, just look like they're clicking. Look, they're starting to work as a team. They're playing for the manager. You can really tell that. They're going to have that big competent midfield three. Well, they don't have Matic, but they're going to bring someone else in. And ultimately, it's going to be down to who takes the chances. And in Lukaku, he'll take them. And Wolves probably won't be as clinical.
Yeah, I just don't think that this isn't Lukaku's game. Wolves are just a little bit too good for him. I think this is a clash of styles between two managers who have similar philosophies, if not playing styles, where a 1-0 win is absolutely fine and you shut up shop. So I'm going to go for 1-1. I think whoever gets the first goal will immediately, the opposition will immediately get on the front foot and look to press. We've seen that happen with both teams this season. We saw Wolves, in the case of Manchester City, taking the lead and then conceding later on. We saw Manchester United going 2-0 up against Watford and having to soak up a lot of pressure after that and just about getting over the line despite being under the cosh for the majority of the second half. So I can see the game going one of those two ways where whoever takes the lead is going to be having to defend that lead and eventually make them unstuck due to the attacking abilities of some of their players. A few Wolves players we're still really yet to see come to life, the likes of Helder Costa and Jota, Diogo Jota as well, yet to show. I mean, they've been good and they've been important to their form so far, but yet to really see them burst into life. And they are two really good attacking players. So 1-1 at Old Trafford. In my book. Next up, Brighton against Tottenham. Brighton back at home. They must be delighted with. Tottenham are 4-5 at the moment to win, which seems like a huge price. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, if you told me that, I would have probably be in the shops right now, to be honest. But Ryan, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, Pochettino's lost 3 games in a row for the first time in his Spurs career, and it's hard not to be biased, isn't it?
Is it?
For you, I think.
He's even wearing his Brighton shirt now.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think Brighton at home, it's been said many times, they've only lost once there since January, which is really good record for them. 2 results in a row. They come back from 2-0 down, which might work in Spurs' favour as Brighton can't keep doing that. But I just think European Football Week, they played quite a strong team as well. Apart from Alderweireld and Trippier, it was a strong team. And I just think Brighton will be going into the game with confidence, momentum, Murray scoring goals. And I would honestly be surprised if Spurs won this game.
Be surprised if Spurs won. Interesting. Alex?
I'm sort of inclined to agree with Ryan.
Painful to say through gritted teeth.
Well, yeah, I mean, sort of. I think that there's no better time for Brighton to play Spurs, obviously coming off the back of this. I think quick turnaround, you'd want a home game, a banker of a home game, and going to Brighton, they've already beaten United at home. They've got a bit of a knack of getting results at the Amex against these so-called bigger sides. That said, I thought Heung-min Son looked good last night against Inter Milan. I think that pace can really get a Duffy and dunk. Harry Kane won't. These guys are sort of winners. They're bottlers really, but they are. but they are. These are
winners until they get to this stage. The winners.
Yeah.
In September, they're winners.
Well, certainly. Yeah. And they won't be. Enjoying this run. They're not going to be. It's not as simple as say, they're on a losing run. Therefore, they're going to go and draw at Brighton 4-5. I'd probably be steaming into that. I think they can nick this. I think it's going to be 2-1 Spurs, but yeah, good game.
Yeah, I think 2-0 Spurs. I think that you cannot get too bogged down in what is just a blip, and it's a tiny, tiny sample size. They were ahead against Watford and threw it away. They were ahead against Inter and threw it away. They're 10 minutes there in each game from winning both games. Against Liverpool, there's no shame in losing to Liverpool whatsoever. This is, as you mentioned, this Spurs team has so many ways of hurting Brighton, whether it's if Harry Kane's out of form. I mean, Lucas Moura still looks absolutely fantastic. He came off the bench against Inter and was the best player on the pitch when he was on it. I agree about Son coming back into form as well. You've got Harry Winks, who I think is a very good centre midfielder who the more games he plays will improve as well. So I think this is one of those where everyone's getting a little bit caught up in it. The fact they've lost 3 games in a row, if anything, it's whilst it's a downward trend, I think that it's very unlikely they're going to continue to keep losing because they're a class outfit. So as good as Brighton are at home, I don't think it's by any means going to be a rout. I'm still going to go for 2-0 to Spurs in the Saturday's afternoon kickoff. 2 games on Super Sunday. The first one sees West Ham, who are now winful after being winless for a long time, having beaten Everton, hosting Chelsea in an all-London affair. Alex, what do you think for this one?
Well, I actually really enjoyed watching West Ham against Everton. I think there's
Jack Wilshere-less West Ham.
Yeah, well, I despise Jack Wilshere, but I love Felipe Anderson. I think there's sort of shades of Dimitri Payet there. The way he sort of just glides past players and creates space. I thought Declan Rice was very good and moving Noble away and as far away from the engine room as possible. If you can't get him off the pitch, that's the best place to have him. And that was very positive for West Ham. Yarmolenko, Arnautovic is surely getting moved to a bigger club soon. He's really excellent. I think they can. Well, they should come bouncing off that and they can cause Chelsea damage. They won this fixture 1-0 last year. That said, I actually think Chelsea are the surprise package of the season. Everyone was talking about Liverpool, everyone was talking about Guardiola. But yeah, I mean, Chelsea have just been so impressive. This is a team that won the title 18 months ago. And I think they can go close again and I think they might win this 2-1. But West Ham shouldn't worry, they'll be fine.
2-1 to Chelsea, but do not worry, West Ham fans, right?
Yeah, West Ham's front three shouldn't be anywhere near relegation, those 3. And it's bizarre how it took Pellegrini so long to realise that you can't play Wilshere and Noble together, can't play Noble in the engine room, put Rice there, all of a sudden they look like a better team. I will say Everton were really, really poor and that certainly helped West Ham get off the mark. Chelsea, they've got the best player in the league in Hazard, in my opinion. They've got a system that clearly suits them already. That midfield 3 of Kante, Kovacic and Jorginho is up there with City with the best in the league, and their defence hopefully will get covered up by the number of goals they score, a little bit like Liverpool of last season. I'm going to go for 3-1 Chelsea win. I can't see West Ham not scoring with that front 3 and Chelsea's slightly ropey defence, although from what I've seen from the season they're going to be up there challenging for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go a bit rogue here. I think loads and loads of goals, and I can see it kind of going either way. I think that this could be a similar game to the Chelsea-Arsenal game we saw a couple of weeks ago, where both teams are very reliant on going forward. I think that West Ham are quite clearly at their best when they're getting the ball forward quickly and playing with those front 3 that we've mentioned. I think Chelsea just are going to be irresistible going forward all season, but anyone who gets them is going to score goals. So I'm going to go for 2-2. I was half tempted to actually say West Ham to nick it in a high-scoring affair, but I'm not going to because I could end up with an egg on my face. But yeah, I think this could be a close one. I've been pretty anti-West Ham all season, but this is the kind of game that could suit them. And at home, looking to get their season finally underway on the back of a victory, especially in a game where the fans are going to be well up for it, because I think there's not much love lost, certainly from West Ham fans toward Chelsea fans. So yeah, 2-2 for me in this one. Finally, Everton go to Arsenal. Everton suddenly, having had a promising start to the season, had that home defeat against West Ham. Richarlison is back, which should be a massive boost to them. Is it going to be enough to see them get past an Arsenal team who are putting together a bit of a run?
Yeah, it's a slightly hard one to call. I'm personally really looking forward to this one. I think it's two sides who, they're just awful at the back. Everton, it's quite well documented at this stage that Marco Silva sides don't keep clean sheets. They're not kept on this season. Arsenal, they got the added sideshow of Cech with the ball at his feet. He's trying his best to put it into the back of his own net, and that will just end badly at some stage. Hopefully on the weekend, just for a bit of entertainment. Result, I'm going to go for 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah. Richarlison's back,
points
so he clearly is the main goal threat because Cenk Tosun can't score. So
surely sometimes Rooney's going to score, isn't he? Alex?
Well, George, if you like goals at London Stadium, I quite like the over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score double in this one. I think, as you mentioned, Arsenal, they're sort of quietly putting together a bit of a run, probably without the sort of pizzazz of which Wenger made his name. But I like Lacazette, I like Aubameyang. We know they create loads of chances at home. It's just there are a lot of bad footballers on the pitch for this one. Cenk Tosun, you mentioned, some of those Arsenal defenders can honestly make a living doing something else, I think. I think 4-2 to Arsenal. As I say, Richarlison's back. Yeah, a hard one to call. It could go either way. There'll definitely be goals, but I think Arsenal come out on top.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an easy home win, really. I think that whilst Richarlison had a fantastic start to the season, it's easy to put so much pressure and all of Everton's success on his shoulders, when actually at the end of the day, he's a very young footballer who's only one guy who can't really take on the whole of the Premier League. Arsenal, on the other hand, look good going forward at the moment. This Everton team coming off the back of a defeat, I think this is just one of those standard 2-0 home wins, which could pile the pressure on Marco Silva. There you have it. We've gone through all the games. Hopefully there's a few correct scores in there. Sadly, we didn't agree on too much, so there should be, hopefully. But thanks very much to Ryan and Alex, and join us again next week, as we'll do exactly the same thing. And subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. You can see all of Ryan's tips. He does so many tips. It's actually unbelievable. He gets through them all, but he does do them all. He's winning as well this season, so subscribe to our YouTube channel to see all those before anyone else. We talk through them, and also have a look on the site to make sure you're getting the best price for your bet. Download the BetHub app and bet through that as well to ensure that you are getting the best price for your Ake or treble, whatever you're doing. And most importantly, enjoy the football.